What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Today we're going to talk about the best things to do while in LA. Let's do it! Alright, Island Hoppers, here we are starting out on Hollywood Boulevard. This here is the Walk of Fame. With 2,700 five-pointed stars, this area extends 15 blocks right here in Hollywood, California. Also, as we continue to show you around the Hollywood Boulevard, I want to let you guys know there will be timestamps below so you can bounce around from location to location all across Los Angeles. But down here at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you can expect to find the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, where you can find life-size replicas of your favorite celebrities. Chinese theater, you can also find where Jimmy Kimmel actually does Jimmy Kimmel Live. You can actually catch a hop-on, hop-off bus down Santa Monica Boulevard all the way towards Beverly Hills. And as we do that, we'll head to our next destination known as La Brea Tar Pits, just down the road from Hollywood. Here at the La Brea Tar Pits, you'll learn about tons of history and the discoveries from the Los Angeles area, dating all the way back to the prehistoric ages in the Ice Age. You'll find woolly mammoth skeletons, saber-toothed tiger cats, and a lot of different fossils. And the reason they're so preserved is because the animals used to get trapped in the tar pits right here in Los Angeles. And because they were in the tar, that's why they're so well preserved after all of these years. This is really a great place to bring kids because they can learn about the Ice Age and animals that used to live in this area in the Americas, and you can actually see the excavation sites where they're still pulling the fossils out. Right next door, you can actually go to the Los Angeles County Art Museum, where they have the Urban Light exhibit right here on Wilshire Boulevard along an area known as the Miracle Mile. Tickets to this museum are actually $25 per adult, but the prices do vary depending on the day, I have noticed. The great thing about this little area around the art museum is they have a few other museums along this area known as the Miracle Mile, which I just mentioned. So add this area to your list as we start checking off all of the museums, including the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, a museum dedicated to the science behind the production of movies. Tickets here are $25 for adults also, and you can easily do this museum, the art museum, and the Petersen Automotive Museum right across the street all in the same day. Petersen Automotive Museum is another one that you want to add to the list, obviously checking out the cars that they have here. So if you're a car lover, do not skip this one. And tickets here are around $19.95 for adults and $10.95 for children. They do say it takes about 3 hours to do this museum, so book accordingly. And next up, we're actually going to head over to Rodeo Drive, a place where people like to go to do high-end shopping, people watching, and the occasional celebrity spotting. But that is very rare. I've been down here several times and haven't seen anything outside of film producers, directors, but no real actors down here from my experience, although it is totally possible. But if you like Louis Vuitton and high-end department stores, then come on down. Other than that, it's just a place to come and take a picture and say you did it. There's also some really nice restaurants that you can hang out. I would say showing up here around 2 to 3 in the afternoon or around sunset is a good time. Also, the area is surrounded by beautiful neighborhoods such as Bel Air and the Beverly Hills. And another place to go around the Hollywood area is going to be Griffith Observatory. This is a place you want to show up just after lunch. If you want to beat the crowds, you can show up a little bit earlier, but it's a cool place for kids to go and check out the planetarium. Also, the views from up here of Los Angeles looking down in all directions, really, even up towards the Hollywood sign, are really nice. Walking around the outside area is going to be free, but if you wanted to go inside the planetarium, you would have to pay an entrance fee. But for the most part, you can just cruise up here, take a bus, take an Uber, or drive up here and park on the parking lot, walk around, hang out for a couple hours, and then head back down the hill. Sitting on the south slopes of the Hollywood Hill, Griffith Park sits at an elevation of 1,100 feet. Also, as we continue to go around up here, I want to remind you guys, if you check in the description below, you will find links to the full travel guide of Los Angeles that we did, as well as a San Diego and Santa Barbara travel guide that you may find useful. While you're in the area though, if you are feeling like a hike, do check out the Hollywood sign hike. There are several hikes in the area around the Hollywood Hills, but this particular hike to the sign is about 6 miles round trip, so definitely bring plenty of water. And it is called the Mount Hollywood Trail. And now what we're going to do is actually head to downtown to the Grand Central Market. This is in a central area of the old downtown along Broadway. And it's a bunch of different food stalls for you to enjoy while here, everything from Chinese and Asian cuisine to Mexican cuisine and so much more. I consider it to be more of a food hawker. One thing I will say about downtown Los Angeles is it is historical, but it's a bit more of a rough area in the LA area. I just wanted to put that out there. But you will encounter plenty of friendly people down here who are working and showing you the culture of Los Angeles. Next up, we're going to go to a historical landmark called the Bradbury Building. Some of you may actually recognize this building from several movies. Built in 1893, this 5-story office building is still in use, making it the oldest commercial building remaining in the central city of Los Angeles. That's pretty old for an LA building. Now, what do you guys say we head across the street to the Angels Flight Railway, which is actually a funicular railway that takes you up from the central downtown area of Los Angeles up to Bunker Hill, where the other museums are in the Los Angeles downtown area, and it takes you up the hill about 300 feet. The actual ride itself costs $1 and takes around 45 seconds to go from top to bottom. It's just a good way to get up the hill, since most of central Los Angeles is built on rolling hills. Once on top, you will find the Museum of Contemporary Art, yet again, one of those art museums in Los Angeles that you'll want to add to the list. But right next to the Museum of Contemporary Art, you're going to find more museums, like the other LA Contemporary Art Museum, the Broad, which actually has its contemporary art collection from the 1950s, which was a really important era here in Los Angeles. So you've got Museum of Contemporary Art, you've got the Broad, and then right down the road you have the LA Philharmonic, which is a music and art center, and then right next to that you have the Walt Disney Concert Hall. So right along Grand Avenue here up on Bunker Hill in downtown Los Angeles, you have about 4 different premier venues to check out. Also consider adding the Los Angeles Zoo to the list of things to do, especially if you have kids. It's not quite the San Diego Zoo, but still add it to the list, especially since the prices are so favorable, $22 for adults and $17 for kids. That's really good pricing for a zoo in California. And then right next door you have the Autry Museum, which is actually a Western historical museum that you can also visit and learn more about the development of Los Angeles and the West. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to push towards the coast, because I know that's what you guys have been waiting for. But before we do, we're going to stop at the Getty, which in my opinion is one of the best things to do in Los Angeles, bar none. And guess what? The good news is it's free. The big caveat is you do have to book ahead of time, so make reservations online or call in to get that reservation before going. The Getty is essentially a travertine palace that was founded by the trust of J. Paul Getty, and he was an oil tycoon or an oil baron of old Los Angeles. And up here, just like Griffith Observatory, you're going to get great views looking down towards the high rises at Wilshire Boulevard and downtown Los Angeles, as well as Santa Monica and the beaches towards Manhattan Beach. It is an art museum, and you do need to take a tram up and down. Next up, we're heading over to Descanso Gardens. This is more of a paradise inside of Los Angeles Metro, nearby Pasadena. Because Los Angeles has such a favorable climate, botanical gardens are very common around this area, and lots of flowers blooming here, like gardenias and many other types of flowers, roses. So if you love the great outdoors and you want to see what kind of plant life actually grows in Los Angeles, check this one out. The daytime ticket prices are $15 for adults, $11 for seniors 65 and older, and $11 for students with ID, $5 for children 5 through 12. And now we're actually going to head over to Santa Monica Pier. This is the old yacht harbor for sport fishing and boating. Many people who you talk to from Los Angeles, they always say Santa Monica is their favorite beach, although it's not necessarily my favorite beach, which I will be telling you about a little later on. but Santa Monica Pier, definitely a place to go. It's an iconic landmark, really, for Los Angeles and the whole West Coast, with the Ferris wheel and the rides, and lots of people come here to this pier, actually. Santa Monica Pier was actually built in 1909. It's actually at the very edge of Route 66 along Colorado Avenue here in Santa Monica. It was actually one of the first concrete piers built in the United States and the first one built on the West Coast, which allowed it to actually build this amusement park called Pacific Park. Let's head inland a bit to Echo Park if you're looking for a little bit of peace and quiet inside the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles. Walking around Echo Park, taking one of the swan boats, just hanging out, watching the fountain. Really a leisurely place to hang out right in the middle of the chaos of Los Angeles freeway system, really. One more thing I would like to add is that walking around Echo Park is free. If you wanted to do the swan boat, obviously you have to pay. Also, with Santa Monica Pier, it is free to just walk around as well. Next up, we're going to go to a place you do have to pay, and that is Universal Studios, Hollywood. Now, at Universal Studios, you can walk around for free at City Walk, but usually when you're there, you're going to want to eat at one of the restaurants. If you actually wanted to go inside the park here at Universal Studios, you do have to pay $140 per person. The price keeps changing, so do check online before arriving. And one big travel hack that you can try out is booking ahead of time, getting your tickets online on something like Groupon or one of those discount ticket places. I have seen ticket prices for a lot cheaper, so do some research on Universal Studios and maybe even Disneyland if you intend to go there. We are not going to be including Disneyland on this list. It is in Anaheim in Orange County. Obviously, Disneyland is a very popular place for people who do go to Los Angeles. You can obviously do your research on it. We just decided to omit it. But next up, we're actually going to head over to a peaceful town, which is, in my opinion, a place to hang out and stay and get your hotel, Pasadena. Right here along Colorado Boulevard. This is obviously where they do the Rose Bowl for the college football. And you can see Old Pasadena is a very relaxing place to hang out. It's a bit more inland than the rest of Los Angeles, but if you're looking for relaxation and affordable pricing within close proximity, consider Pasadena as your base camp. Next up, we're actually going to head right up the road from Pasadena to the Huntington Library. Now, this one is probably my favorite botanical garden in all of LA. They do have a historical building here where you can learn about some of the history of the West, but also they have several different subtropical and desert climate zones right here in the garden areas. My favorite was the desert, actually, but they also have a very beautiful Japanese garden for you to walk around. This place is certainly worth its weight in gold. It is $25 per adult, but the good news is you can spend a few hours here wandering around all of the different gardens. Very relaxing. They also have a cafe near the entrance area. So definitely consider this place if you're looking for some outdoor botanical experience in Los Angeles. This would probably be number one, again, nearby Pasadena. And here is a good look at that desert garden that I was telling you was my favorite. So after spending an afternoon at the gardens, why don't you head down to the beach for a sunset? And what better place to go than Venice Beach? Now, Venice Beach has a reputation of being a bit seedy, but overall, it is an amazing place with high energy. You're going to have young people, you're going to have old people, you're going to have wealthy, affluent people, you're going to have people exercising, and then you're going to have some people who actually try to live right there in Venice Beach and sleep outside without paying rent. But also, you have surfers, you have skaters, you have rollerbladers, you have people pumping iron and playing basketball right here with a lot of street performances. Down here, you're going to be able to do some shopping and also eat some food. It is a great place to get a sunset, as I mentioned previously. And after sunset, let's head inland a bit back towards La Brea to a place called The Grove. Now, if you're looking for a really high-end, cool place that's modern in Los Angeles area, consider this place The Grove. They also call it the Old Farmers Market right next door. But you can see as we walk around, this is a really cool shopping area and a place to hang out. I would really like to come here during Christmas time, but any time of the year is probably a good time to hang out at The Grove for an evening date or just going out and relaxing. Again, it is another one of those free places to walk around, but if you want to eat or do some dining, hanging out, you're going to have to pay. But the big ticket in town is going to be the parking. Again, one more reason to consider Uber or Lyft, or possibly even the public transportation system, although that's probably not going to be preferred. So Uber and Lyft it is. Like I said previously, it is right next door to the farmers market. They call it the old farmers market because this was the original West Coast farmers market in the West Coast. And you could still come here and hang out as if you're going back in time. You're going to eat ice cream, pizza, burgers, hang out in the little food court area. But really a cool place to go if you're looking for some good food. And obviously they have a market nearby where you can get fresh produce. If you do decide to go to the Grove and the farmers market, I would say do the farmers market first and then head over to the Grove because you will save money with your dinner. There you go. Now we're going to actually head north a bit. This is called Ventura Harbor, and Ventura Harbor is considered by some to be the real Southern California vibe. One thing I will say is the wind and the weather in Ventura can be a bit more harsh and brutal than towards the south. It is a bit out of the way of Los Angeles because it's so far north. Typically, if you're going to do Ventura, you might as well do Malibu and drive the Pacific Coast Highway up. But it is known for its historic landmarks, the beaches, and its resorts. Also some good hiking nearby Ventura. And since we're in the spirit of talking about cool beach towns, let's talk about Hermosa Beach. Now, Hermosa Beach is certainly one of the best beaches that you will go to while in Southern California. It is just north of the Long Beach area, Ranchos Palos Verdes. There are a few beaches in this area, which we're going to be highlighting right here in this next round. This part of Los Angeles, they actually built a few piers, and the pier here in Hermosa was actually built in 1904, but it was destroyed by a storm in 1913. While in Hermosa, you can lounge at the beach, play some beach volleyball, eat some good food at one of the local restaurants, really just kind of take it all in and relax here. Now, what we're going to do is actually head south over the big bridges where the port of Long Beach is into Long Beach. So Long Beach is definitely an area that is outside of Los Angeles Central City, but it really is an amazing place to hang out, and maybe you would consider staying here if you're looking for an area to stay. This little area right here where they have shopping, the convention center, the waterfront is known as Pine Avenue, also the Pine Avenue Pier. Now, some of the things you can do while in Long Beach is check out the old ship called Queen Mary. It is currently closed, but hopefully it opens soon again to the public. You can actually get a hotel room on there. They also have the Catalina Express right nearby here, which is the ferry boat that actually takes you to Catalina Island, which is certainly another thing to do while in LA. Now we're going to actually head back north again to Manhattan Beach, right next to Hermosa Beach. So you got Manhattan Beach, you got Hermosa Beach, you got Redondo Beach, all of which we're kind of highlighting here. I want you to see exactly what they look like, these neighborhoods and these areas, so that when you're in Los Angeles, you can see which one you want to go to. It's hard to pick which one's better because they're all kind of side by side. And depending on who you ask, you might get a different answer. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying this video and you want to see more videos like this as we continue to show you around, consider subscribing to this channel where we take you all around the world and America. Also, there are videos below in the description, like San Diego, as I told you, and Santa Barbara. But now let's show you around Malibu. Malibu is known for its beaches, also the pier, and going up into the mountains and doing some hiking to waterfalls. Malibu is a very expensive and sought after destination. It's also very famous, especially at sunset time. You can get some world-class views driving along the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, right here, also known as Highway 1. But really the beaches and just chilling out are the big things to do here in Malibu. It's just north of Santa Monica. As you're probably noticing by now with all of these beach towns, sport fishing was a big thing in Southern California, although it is not as popular because overfishing has made an impact on the amount of fish that are available in the Pacific Ocean nowadays. Now we're actually going to head in between Long Beach and Redondo Beach. This area is called Palos Verdes. Now, Ranchos Palos Verdes is where they have some high-class resorts. They also have a lighthouse. People come here to do some hiking, golfing. They also like to walk around the beaches down below. It's really an enchanting kind of area. Now, I will say, if you're going to plan to stay here, it is going to be more expensive than most areas because this is the $1 million home area. And in Los Angeles, saying $1 million home area really isn't that uncommon, especially on the coast, because small houses go for $1 million, even if they're not that beautiful. But up here, these are beautiful homes right there on this point. So really, these are multi-million-dollar homes, and the resort rooms probably range anywhere from $500 a night all the way up to a couple $1,000s a night for a room right around this area. Very peaceful, very relaxing, beautiful, and scenic. And typically, if you're going to stay in Ranchos Palos Verdes, where you'll probably go for lunch or a little bit of nightlife activity is going to be Redondo Beach. I would say between Redondo, Hermosa, and Manhattan Beach, Redondo is probably my favorite. It just seems to have that vibe that I'm looking for, but it's also the closest to Ranchos Palos Verdes. You can see this pier has fresh seafood right there, whether you want to cook it at home or actually ask one of the cooks right there to cook it up. Now, as I continue to show you around Redondo Beach here, I do want to mention Huntington Beach and Newport Beach. The reason we're not really including those two in this list, I consider those more Orange County area. Obviously, it could be considered Los Angeles Metro, but if you're looking for some other beach areas that are further away from LA's city center, do consider Huntington and also Newport Beach. Also, some other places I want to mention that you're not going to see on this list, although they are worth honorable mention as we continue to show you around Redondo actually, is going to be Six Flags Magic Mountain. That's up north in Santa Clarita. Also, we told you previously, Disneyland, which is in Anaheim, and then there's also going to the Catalina Islands. You only really go to Avalon. You can't really fly in there, although you could try, but it doesn't have big jets coming in and out. So I just wanted to point those out as we continue to show you what else there is to do around Los Angeles. All right, now after all of these activities, let's talk about food. Some things you're going to want to try when you come to Los Angeles is going to be the Asian cuisine, the Hispanic Mexican style food, the Latino food. You've got everything from El Salvadorian, Costa Rican, you've got Mexican, of course, but you've also got this Asian fusion with Korean and Chinese and Japanese, plenty of sushi restaurants, pizza, Italian. Let's just put it like this, Los Angeles is definitely one of the top foodie cities in all of the world, and certainly in the United States. And next up, let's talk about riding the trains, the mass transit system. It is something you can do, but in particular, riding Amtrak. We rode the Amtrak from San Diego up to Los Angeles. There's stops in between like San Clemente, most of Orange County, and then you can even take it north to San Francisco or to Santa Barbara. So riding the metro, but in particular the Amtrak, is certainly a thing to do. And the central station is Union Station right there in the heart of Los Angeles. Now, with all of that said, you're going to have to pick an arrival airport. You have many different options. You have LAX, which is the biggest, John Wayne Airport, which is in Orange County, which is a good one if you want easy access in and out, also fast moving. John Wayne's a good one, but there's also Burbank, and then in the interior there's Ontario. So 4 different big airports that you can get in and out of Los Angeles with. But on that note, that's going to conclude this one from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and definitely watch some more of these other videos. I will post a link to San Diego and also the full Los Angeles travel guide. See you on the next one.